Just roll it.
Wow. You have to get up, do what they do. But that was insane. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Come on. I make go records, baby. I'm liking this.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Hawks Recap. My name is Clay. Thank you for tuning in. Blackhawks just completed their 68th game of the regular season, riding a 4-game winning streak, making a playoff push out of nowhere, playing the back end of back-to-back on the road in Detroit against arguably the worst team in NHL history in terms of points through 82 games. Now I know we haven't played 82 games, but just projected-wise. So naturally, the Hawks take a big fat L in this one. They lose to the Red Wings by a score of 2-1. Now, I had a beer league game tonight, so I didn't really get to watch most of this game. I saw like the first 6 or 7 minutes, and then I had to skedaddle. So I'm not really going to talk in much detail about this game. I'm just going to talk from what I saw in the beginning and then also like just condensed highlights. But my team won tonight. You know, would have been nice to see maybe the Hawks win as well. I even had a golden opportunity at a goal, wide open net, and I shoot it, and the goalie makes a desperation save on me. He channeled his inner Bernier. Now, Bernier had what seemed to be a really good game in this one, and from what I saw in the first 6-7 minutes, that would support it. Blackhawks had golden opportunity, even though they didn't start well in this game. The first 30 minutes was not good for the Hawks in this game, but they still had their chances, and early on in the first period, from what I saw, they had a 2-on-1, Caggiula, DeBrincat. Caggiula gets the puck to DeBrincat, and DeBrincat scores that 9 times out of 10. But this time, Bernier makes a save, and you can say that's the difference in the scoreline of this game. The Hawks had a number of opportunities like that in this game. Bernier came up large, and the Hawks just couldn't find a way to really do what they did in the past 4 games and score goals when really they should have. Crawford starting in net for the Hawks again for the 8th straight game. Now, I mentioned in the last video that from looking at the Hawks schedule, the remaining games, like this looked like the perfect opportunity to have Subban play. Like you look at the rest of the schedule and the teams, there's not really a game that you'd rather put Subban in. Like a lighter game or whatever, rather than Crawford. There's like one more back-to-back, but like the back end of the back-to-back is against the Capitals, so you're like, if Crawford's going to play both games, like that back-to-back would be it. This back-to-back, when you're playing Detroit on the back end of your back-to-back, like, put Subban in, you know? But Crawford gets the start, and Crawford played well in this game. But if you're looking at, you know, hypothetically, the Hawks winning this game and making their playoff push, and Crawford making 8 straight starts with this one, and then 14 more games, the possibility of 22 straight starts to end the season. I mean, that's a lot for a goaltender to play. But it really didn't matter. It did matter because the team in front of the goalie didn't show up, at least for the first 30 minutes of this game. Now, there are plenty of excuses the Hawks could use for this one, right? Back end of a back-to-back. Playing a team that's on 3 days rest, that's not an easy task. In addition to that, the Hawks didn't get into Detroit until 3 a.m. 6:30 p.m. puck drop means that they're playing 2 games in less than 24 hours. That's tough, right? No Boquist, no Carlson. There's excuses for this team. But when the Hawks, at this point in the season, are in the position that they are in, haven't been able to get the job done in the last 67 games to give them a little bit of a cushion for a possible letdown like this, excuses really don't matter. Now, I wish I could tell you that I'm surprised by this result, that I'm devastated by this result, but I'm not. I'm not. When I was in the locker room after my glorious beer league victory tonight, had a beer in my hand, grabbed the phone in my other hand, looked up the Hawks score, but I knew in my mind that the Hawks lost this game. When the NHL app opened and I saw the scoreline 2-1 in favor of Detroit, nothing seemed out of place. The Hawks inability, time and time again, to get over the hump this season is why, prior to the All-Star break, I wrote this season off. Like, this team's not going to the playoffs. Yes, they've made a run as of late, but in the back of my mind, even though I've kind of gone along with it, I knew this team wasn't going to get it done. They just haven't been able to consistently put together enough to be able to get the job done. All the goals in this game would happen in the second period, and it started early in the second period with Detroit getting a goal 20 seconds in from Bertuzzi. It was a pretty darn good pass from Larkin to get it to Bertuzzi. Bertuzzi fired it past Crawford. Detroit up by 1, and then Detroit gets a power play goal later in the period to make it 2-0. The Hawks special teams failed them tonight. They give up a power play goal. They go 0 for 3 on the power play, so neither the penalty kill or the power play units get the job done, and that's another reason why the Hawks lost this game. Now, the Hawks would turn it on in the latter half of the second period and in the third period as well. They would get a goal late in the second when Colleton would kind of stack the lines, put Saad, Taves, and Kane together. They would get a goal, Kane specifically. And then in the third, they had chances. But once again, as I mentioned, Bernier had a fantastic game in this one, and Hawks just couldn't solve that riddle. Obviously, this loss is devastating, especially for the older fans who still hate the Red Wings because of the rivalry that the Hawks and Red Wings had before the Red Wings moved to the East. I mean, you think the rivalry with the Blues is big. It is nothing compared to the rivalry that the Hawks and Red Wings had for pretty much the entire history of hockey. Obviously, this loss comes at a very inopportune time, but if I had to offer some sort of good news about this, it would be that the Red Wings have also beaten the Boston Bruins twice this year. Bruins have 98 points, the most points of any team in the NHL. Point being, any team in the NHL, no matter what their standings place is, can beat any other team on any given night. The Hawks season isn't a loss because of tonight's result. Tonight's result happens from time to time. The Hawks season and their ultimate fate for this season rests on every other game that the Hawks have had the inability of succeeding in. So yeah, I'm gonna end this video here. I don't really want to talk about this game anymore. The Hawks have 14 more games left. If they want to hit 93 points, which in my opinion would be enough to make the playoffs, obviously in my mind I don't think they will, but let's just hypothetically say if they are going to hit the 93 point threshold, they can only drop another 5 points in their final 14 games. And well, they have some tough opponents left, like the Blues on Sunday, and the Capitals, and the Islanders, and the Penguins, and the Rangers. Yeah. So, let me know what you think down in the comments section below. Like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate that as always. Thank you so much for watching. I cannot tell you guys how much I really appreciate it, and everything you guys do in terms of interaction and commenting and everything. It's I love it. It's awesome. I read every single one, and I enjoy hearing everyone else's input. Even if I don't share the same opinion, I love seeing other people's thoughts on things. So thank you so much for doing that. So remember, stay safe, make good decisions, and I'll see you next time.